Hari Om Tat Sat. Welcome to Swami Jyotirmayananda Society, a journey to self-realization. Please subscribe for the mystical meanings and to enjoy daily satsang. We are currently exploring Srimad Bhagavad Gita, commentaries by my worshipful Guruji, Swami Jyotirmayananda Maharaj, narrated by myself, Swami Nikhilananda. We are currently studying chapter number 14, and today we are going to start from shloka number 25. Lord Krishna is explaining the state of someone who has achieved the transcendental self or the Turiya, which is the fourth state. So God continues, Manapamanayo stulyo mitraripakshayoh sarvarambha parityagi gunatitah sa uchyate. He is the same in honor and dishonor, alike to friend and foe, having abandoned all karmic involvements. He is verily called Gunatita, one who has gone beyond the gunas. So God is again explaining these deeper inside states of these highly evolved souls, that they are ever the same whether somebody praises them or insults them. They are above that state, and they don't hold any anger or animosity against somebody who abuses them, and they treat friends and foe everything as God's evolution, as part of God's plan. So having abandoned all karmic involvements, which means that they are not bound by karma anymore, therefore there is no more birth and death, there is no more action and reaction. He is verily called a gunatita, beyond the guna. Tita means to go beyond. So he is no longer in sattva, rajas or tamas. He has reached that state that the gunas can no longer control him. He has gone beyond the gunas. Next shloka, Mam cha yo avyabhichareణ bhakti yogena sevate sagunan samityetan brahma bhuyaya kalpate. He who worships me with unswerving devotion crosses over the three gunas and becomes qualified for becoming one with Brahman or the Absolute. So here God says, what is needed is rock like faith, like Hanuman had for Lord Rama, that kind of unswerving devotion. One who has, mind you, he doesn't say he should be very educated, highly literate, have so much knowledge, memorize so much shlokas, know so much Sanskrit. None of that. He says all you need is a pure devoted heart and unswerving devotion. Then such a person crosses over the gunas, and therefore he becomes one with Brahman or the Absolute. And to become one with Brahman is to become Brahman itself. To know God is to become God. That is a very high state. And now we will chant the last shloka of this chapter, and then we will move on to chapter 15. So the last shloka of chapter 14, which is Guntraya Vibhag Yog, Lord continues, Brahmano hi pratishtaham amritasya vyayasya cha shashvatasya cha dharmasya sukhasya ikantikasya cha. For I am the abode of Brahman, the immortal, the immutable. I am the eternal virtue, dharma, and absolute bliss. So God is then giving his final assurance that if you do that, you are coming to me, and I control this whole cosmos. So you have nothing to worry. You are coming to your own home, which is immortal and immutable. Therefore, you will have no longer birth and death. You will abide in God. So God is saying, I am established in Dharma and in Ananda. Sat Chit Ananda is Brahman, the characteristic of Brahman. So with this, we have concluded chapter number 14. Let us pay gratitude to Gita Maharani and to Lord Krishna. Om Tat Sadati Srimad Gita Su Upanishadsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Gunatraya Vibhaga Yogo Nama Chaturasho Adhyayah Sampurnam. बोलिए भगवान श्री कृष्ण की जय. Glory to Lord Krishna. Om Tat Sat. Thus, in the Upanishad of the Bhagavad Gita, the knowledge of Supreme Brahman, the scripture of yoga, ends the 14th chapter entitled The Yoga of the Division of the Three Gunas. So, now moving on to chapter number 15, which is also known as Purushottam Yoga. Purushottam Yoga is the yoga of the Supreme Spirit. Purush is the ultimate, Prakriti is Mother Nature, and Purush is the inexhaustible element, Brahman himself. So, Purushottam Yoga is the study of that, yoga of the Supreme Spirit. The world process has evolved through the interaction of spirit and matter, which is Prakriti and Purush. A yogi gains insight into the nature of the Purushottama or the Supreme Being, who is distinct from spirit and matter and who permeates and sustains the three worlds. That is who that Brahman beyond all these concepts is. This insight enables the yogi to possess the weapons of non attachment by which he cuts down the mystic tree of the world process and is established in Brahman. So, God is saying gradually through studying these shlokas and Bhagavad Gita, one can get to that state where he is firmly established. So, here God is starting this chapter, shloka number 1. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Urdhva Adah Shakham Ashwatham Prahuravyayam Chandansi Yasya Paranani Yastam Veda Savedavita. The Blessed Lord said, the scriptures speak of the imperishable Ashwatha tree of the world process with its roots above and branches below. The Vedic verses constitute the leaves. He who understands this tree is the knower of the essence of the Vedas. So, here in this first shloka, God has inverted the tree. See, normally what happens is in normal trees, the tree is upwards and the roots are down. The roots are sustaining the tree, but they are not visible. The only thing that's visible is the root. So here God has inverted the tree to guide us all to say these roots are being sustained by me as God himself. Like the under this earth, everything is sustained by God's power. So here he is showing you that if you invert it, you will see that the sustenance, you water the roots, you don't water the leaves, you don't water the branches. See, so this is how this chapter starts, where he is saying the scriptures are speaking of this world tree. So think of the world tree that needs watering of the roots, and then the Vedic verses are the leaves. And someone who can understand this tree will understand my glory, my knowledge, and what God is trying to guide us with. So, shloka number 2, God says, Adhaschordhvam prasritasya shakha guna pravraddha vishaya pravalaha adhascha mulanya nusantatani karmanubandhini manushya loke. So God continues, he's explaining this tree now. He says, nourished by the gunas, the modes of nature, the branches of this tree with sense objects for its buds spread high and low, and its roots spread below in the world of men, creating the bondage of karma. So, very simply, God is explaining just like you have flowers and fruits and blossoms and growth in the tree, and the roots go down strong and they flourish, much in the same way, due to our karma, we are also getting entangled in the world process. Shloka number 3, na rupamasyeha tatopalabhyate nanto na chadirna cha sampratishtha ashwathamenam suvirudamulam asanga shastrena drinena chitva. The real form of this tree is not perceived here, nor does anyone see its beginning, middle, or end. Having forcefully cut off this firmly rooted Ashwatha tree with the weapon of detachment. So here God is saying this tree is not easily visible because this tree is everywhere. It's in the whole cosmos. It's God's creation, but he's using this example, this simile illustration, so we can understand it better, that it doesn't have a beginning, a middle, and an end. It's everywhere, and therefore you have to cut this root of the tree if you want to finally grow, and finally, which means withdrawal of the senses, because otherwise, see, the senses keep on agitating us again and again, and we keep going through this process. Shloka number 4. ततः पदं तत्परिमार्गितव्यं यस्मिन् गता न निवर्तन्ति भूयः तमेव चाद्यं पुरुषं प्रपद्ये यतः प्रवृत्तिः प्रसृता पुराणी. One should seek that abode, having attained which one does not return to the world process. I adore that primeval supreme being from whom this ancient activity, the tree of world process, has proceeded. So here God is saying very clearly that we should seek that abode from where all this has come up, not to get stuck in these things, and which is very much possible to forever terminate, which is where God is saying, having attained, one does not return to the world process. In the last chapter, he was showing us how to transcend the gunas, and here he is saying, in order to transcend the gunas, these are the things you need to do by being firm with your discipline, with your devotion, and then basically cutting off your sense desires one by one. Next shloka. Nirmana mohajita sangadosha adhyatma nitya vinivritta kamaha द्वन्द्वैर विमुक्ताः सुख दुःख संगैर गच्छन्त मूढ़ः पदमव्ययं तत्. He who is devoid of pride and delusion, who has conquered the defect of attachment, who is ever steady in meditating upon the self, who has turned away from worldly desires and is free from the pairs of opposites in the form of pleasure and pain, he, not being deluded, reaches this immutable abode. So, in this shloka, God is giving us the actions that we should do and what are the things we should not do. Meaning, we should not have pride, we should not have delusion, we should not have attachment, and we should be willing to meditate upon ourselves daily, and we should not have worldly desires, and we should be free from the pairs of opposites of good and bad, life and death, right and wrong, hot and cold, etc., the duality, so to speak, and not being deluded, and he is firmly established in the self and immersed in satsanga. He is being guided by a spiritual preceptor. Such a person who has thorough understanding of these concepts will not come back to the world process again, because he is no longer deluded. He has made tremendous progress in his past lives, and is continuing to do so in this life also. So with this we conclude our satsang for today, and we will start from shloka number 6 in tomorrow's satsang. This is Swami Nikhilananda. Hari Om Tat Sat.